Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for checking out today's video right here at UFO Chaser. In today's video, we will take an in-depth look at the future of humanity, according to the predictions from Prophecy. Humanity as a whole is entering into a new phase of evolution. A turning point of extraordinary events soon to unfold will usher in a new era and a new beginning. We are shifting towards a path of progression, a conscious awakening balanced between choice and inevitable change that will ultimately determine the fate of humanity and the outcome of all things. What's up, everybody? UFO Chaser here. Thanks for joining me. I just wanted to let everybody know. Oh, also my cat decided to join us, Ziggy, I guess. So there he is. Anyways, I just wanted to let everybody know in this video on this particular subject, there are a lot of mind-blowing predictions and prophecies about the times that we are living in now. So I'm just going to be going over some of them in this video. More the ones that stuck out in my mind and pertain, I guess, to what's actually going on now and things that could be happening in the near future. So with that being said, let's get to it, starting off with this prediction by Nostradamus. And as always, thanks for watching. Much love. Around the year 2021, humans, specifically military soldiers, will merge with artificial intelligence by way of microchip and gene modification, creating a new superhuman. In the early 21st century, humans will merge with AI through neurological brain links and with nanotechnology incorporated into internal human organs, the beginning steps of creating a superhuman cyborg. We shall see the coming of times in the 21st century where mankind and machine intertwine. Through cloning and cybernetic implants, this merging with AI begins as a way to end aging and disease.
Already we can record memories. So a memory chip is definitely in the cards. And I think this will eventually affect human civilization. It's going to change everything. Human relations will change because you'll be able to empathize and feel the suffering of other people. We'll be able to communicate telepathically. And this is coming.
A high bandwidth brain-machine interface, I think we can actually go along for the ride. And we can effectively have the option of merging with AI. Yeah, this is going to sound pretty weird, but achieve a sort of symbiosis with artificial intelligence. Ultimately, we can do a full brain-machine interface. Really excited to show you what we've got. I think it's going to blow your mind. All of your senses, your sight, hearing, feeling, pain, these are all electrical signals sent by neurons to your brain. These can all be solved with an implantable neural link. This is sort of what it looks like. This is our little device. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. Over time, we could actually give somebody supervision, like you could have like ultraviolet or infrared, or see in radar, and actually have superhuman vision. With this implant, you can actually think. Just by thinking, you can output words, and you can type, and you can control a computer, control a phone.
We'll be able to get naturalistic control over the computers, not just a mouse, but also a keyboard, game controllers, and potentially other devices. That's what we're trying to do. Potentially, with a device like this, you could restore speech to a paralyzed person who's no longer able to talk. But there's no reason in principle that we can't reach all of motor cortex. And that would give us access to any movement that a person thinks about, any movement at all. A person could imagine running, or dancing, or even kung fu, and we would be able to decode that signal.
Around the year 2021, the consciousness of people will change. Difficult times will come. People will be divided by their faith. We're witnessing devastating events that will change the fate and destiny of humanity.
I came to the conclusion that if we can advance the the knowledge of the world, if we can do things that expand the scope and scale of consciousness, then we're better able to ask the right questions and become more enlightened, and that's really the only way forward.
Around the year 2021, trains will travel by light. The Earth will begin to rest. We will no longer only rely upon the use of fossil fuels. Soon a new source of energy will be discovered.
This is the future of high-speed transportation. It's 3.5 times faster than Japan's Shinkansen bullet trains, and even faster than a Boeing 747. It's a hyperloop, magnetic pods levitating inside a tube at more than 1,000 kilometers per hour. This technology could make working and living in two different cities a norm, while also creating a world with less congestion and pollution.
Yes!
And with a successful human test ride in November 2020, we could be less than 10 years away from it becoming reality, namely magnetic levitation, or maglev. Maglev is basically what allows a hyperloop to go incredibly fast, thanks to the lack of friction between the passenger-carrying pods and the tube-shaped track. The general concept is simple. Magnets lining the bottom of the pod repel the tube material, levitating the pod as it runs. The hyperloop concept removes a key element that holds a lot of trains and planes back: air resistance. This is where vacuum pumps come in handy. Both companies are installing pumps along the tube. These pumps, located every 10 kilometers, theoretically would suck out 99.9% of the air between the capsule and the tube. Removing air drag could be the difference of some 800 kilometers per hour.
Theoretically, you could go even faster than the speed of sound, but that's toying with some fun things that we'll do later on.
And Hyperloop TT is currently in the works to build and test a full-size project in Abu Dhabi. Its first potential U.S. project will run from Chicago to Cleveland. Virgin Hyperloop will be building its new certification testing facility in West Virginia in 2022, including a 9,600-meter track to be used for testing and establishing regulatory and safety guidelines.
Over half the world's countries and most US states are now at or below solar grid parity, when solar power becomes cheaper than existing fossil-fueled energy from the grid. Why is Elon so bullish on the growth of Tesla Energy? Because he isn't just building batteries and solar panels, he's building entire virtual power plants. And from Tesla's own website, earn cash from your Powerwall and create a cleaner, stronger grid. What is a virtual power plant? Tesla is connecting thousands of homes with solar panels and batteries into one sun-powered network, then connecting them to the national grid. This gives homeowners a way to profit from their power.
In the early 21st century, there will be cataclysms and devastating natural disasters. A comet will collide with the Earth. The Earth's orbit will change. Polar ice caps melt and sea levels rise. Humans begin to colonize planet Mars.
Elon predicts the US will be one step further in 2021, landing remote-controlled buggies that will stage the first moon race. The date has already been set with a planned SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch in October 2021. Intuitive Machines is already part of NASA's CLPS program. What's CLPS? Commercial Lunar Payload Services. What we're seeing here is nothing less than the beginning of the colonization of space. This year, NASA published its Artemis plan to land the first couple on the moon by 2024, the same time frame that Elon has set for the first crewed mission to land on Mars. If you thought self-driving cars and satellite internet will change things, space colonies will forever transform civilization itself. Future thinkers from Elon Musk to Stephen Hawking agree. Our only true chance of long-term survival is for humans to become a multi-planetary species. That journey begins in 2020.
In the 21st century, humanity will experience a great awakening. Mankind will be witness to sparks in the sky with a fiery tail, an unknown force set for destruction. Sometime in the early 21st century, there will be other life discovered in the cosmos, and many secrets revealed about how life began on
Given
Earth.
the fact that we've already identified 4,000 exoplanets orbiting other stars, and we have a census of the Milky Way galaxy for the first time, we know that on average, every single star, on average, has a planet going around it, and about 1/5 or so of them have Earth-sized planets going around them. So just do the math. We're talking about out of 100 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy, we're talking about billions of potential Earth-sized planets. And to believe that we're the only one is, I think, rather ridiculous, given the odds. And how many galaxies are there? Within sight of the Hubble Space Telescope, there are about 100 billion galaxies. So do the math. How many stars are there in the visible universe? 100 billion galaxies times 100 billion stars per galaxy. We're talking about a number beyond human imagination. And to believe that we're the only ones, I think, is rather ridiculous.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are.
He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives.
So this all started out on a website called The Debrief. Let's throw this up there. So The Debrief, very interesting news organization on science, tech, and aerospace, spoke with a lot of U.S. military and intelligence officials about the UAPTF. Now, I want everybody to take that in. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Now, this task force, we've talked a lot about that here, that's what is working with Congress and the Intelligence Committee. Well, it turns out, according to The Debrief, they spoke with a bunch of officials about a new report that's been circulating around the Pentagon and within the intelligence community. Now, I'm going to read some direct quotes to everyone. Everyone The Debrief spoke with said that the most striking feature of a recent report was the inclusion of a new, extremely clear photograph of an unidentifiable triangular aircraft. Now, yesterday, The Debrief published these photos. So the first one, let's go back to that first one. And you can see clearly it was taken with a cell phone camera from an aircraft. This was an FA-18 fighter pilot, and it was captured somewhere over the ocean. I also want to explain here the behavior. So two officials that received that report said, quote, the photo was taken after the triangular craft emerged from the ocean and began to ascend straight upwards at a 90-degree angle.
We used to be defensive on this topic, but there's no reason to be. There is now an enormous amount of evidence, including physical evidence, that UFOs, whatever they are real. Why don't we know a lot more about this? Because the government has hidden that information from us.
Should we study this stuff? The answer is yes. And that's all this was about. And why the federal government all these years has covered up, put brake pads on everything, stopped it.
Are you saying that there's some evidence that still hasn't seen the light of day?
I'm saying most of it hasn't seen the light of day.
But that's not even the biggest claim he makes. According to the film, Reed said that UFOs have actually and repeatedly interfered with our nuclear weapons capabilities. So where are these UFOs from?
Dr. Jacques Vallée has collected purported metal debris from UFO cases dating as far back as 1947 that experts are analyzing in a state-of-the-art laboratory. He was astonished to find their composition was unlike any known metal.
This material was manufactured. It's not natural. It's not natural to the materials that we have around us in the lab or on the Earth.
To you, James Fox, is the question of the nuclear weapons facilities. How often do we think UFOs have visited and why?
Well, that was one of the big bombshells that Harry Reid dropped during production of the film. It really kind of caught me off guard because it's the first time, a government official of his magnitude, of his level, had revealed that these UFOs were not only seen over, super secret nuclear weapons facilities, but they were interacting, shutting on and off some of the missiles. He went as far as even saying that if the president had called upon to launch the missiles in several occasions, they couldn't have done it. The missiles were deactivated. And this has also been happening in Russia, and we document those cases very thoroughly with high-level military officials testifying about these incidents.
It's beyond. Mr. Mellon, quickly to you, physical evidence of UFOs, metal from the craft, where?
Well, this is, my congratulations to James. This is the most informative and engaging documentary and important documentary on this subject because it's no longer a theoretical issue, as you've observed. This is now the Defense Department has confirmed this is happening. Congress is asking questions. They're asking for a report. So this information, people need to get an understanding and a context with which to sort of process and absorb this. In terms of the materials, there are private researchers, Jacques, perhaps foremost among them, also to the Stars Academy, that have materials and are funding research. Jacques is a meticulous scientist, so he's sending it to peer review in multiple labs. But the gist of it is that those materials were engineered at an atomic level. It's a capability that we don't even possess. If they can prove that and demonstrate that, that'll raise a lot of interesting questions.
Speaking of conspiracy theories that actually have truth at the bottom of them, the Corona Relief Bill that the President signed last month contains a provision that hasn't gotten a lot of attention. It directs the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the Secretary of Defense and the heads of other agencies, to disclose what they know about UFOs within 180 days. So what are they going to tell us? Nick Pope is an expert on this subject. He's former UK Minister of Defense. He's an official of the UK Ministry of Defense. He joins us tonight. Nick, thanks so much for coming on. What do you think we're likely to learn? Will they obey is the first question. Will they actually tell us what they know? And if they do, what will they tell us?
Well, this is going to be a very interesting year for UFOs, that's for sure, Tucker. And yes, they will definitely have to produce this report within 180 days, so we can get this by late June. It has to be unclassified, but can have a classified annex. So the answer, what the public will get, maybe not a lot, but what the Senate Intelligence Committee, the Armed Services Committee will get, hopefully a whole lot more, and hopefully some answers to these questions that we've been asking for months now. What is going on in our airspace? What has the U.S. Navy been encountering, and what is it that has been in these classified briefings that we know some senators have already had?
What do you think they're likely to reveal?
It's interesting, just before Christmas, there were some leaks. Sitting in Office of Naval Intelligence is an organization called the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. They're probably the ones drafting this report. Some leaks suggest they have not ruled out the extraterrestrial hypothesis.
Yeah, and there may be physical evidence of the existence of these craft, whatever they are. Have you heard that?
Yes, I've heard talk of so-called metamaterials, and I think this report really will have to disclose. I mean, what the Intelligence Committee want to know is everything in government is fragmented. They want to know who knows what. They want a single official named and put in charge of all this, and this is going to include FBI, by the way, as well as the military and the intelligence community. We want answers.
There is first a purification time, then there's renewal time. We are getting very close to this time now. Everything is coming to a time where prophecy and man's inability to live on earth in a spiritual way will come to a crossroad of great problems. Treat all things as spirit. Realize that we are one family. We are all from the earth. And when the earth, the water, the atmosphere is corrupted, then it will create its own reaction. Mother is reacting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say the storms and floods will become greater.